So why is Donald Trump sending American troops into our cities? Hi, I'm David Thompson. And that's a good question. But you see, to understand the answer to that question, you have to understand who Donald Trump really is. Many of his followers don't. Many have a clue, but they still support him because many of them still want what he wants, a white America, a white crimeless America, I guess. So they'll put up with all the antics. They'll put up with a trash person like this because they want the authoritarian leader. They desire an authoritarian leader. And a lot of that, especially for many Christians, is they believe that's who God is, authoritarian. You know, the God of the Old Testament, fire and brimstone and the hammer coming down. Except they miss the fact that we're in the New Testament. And Jesus, not quite so much an authoritarian bringing the hammer down. He has grace, and he has forgiveness, and he has love, and he's woke. So he's not interested in how many people you can bring to justice, how many troops you can put in a city and show power. No, that's not true. But see, many people don't look at Jesus that way. They look at the Old Testament. They want the leader that's going to force people to do what they want them to do. And that's comply with being white, comply with submissiveness, and being obedient and being under control of God's Savior in the White House. Now, leaving those people aside, because that's absolute craziness, we have to then realize that Donald Trump has a lot of problems. He's a sociopath. He's a psychopath. He's a liar. Again, a convicted felon. We can go down a list of more things he's done. So we're going to allow this person to take control because, again, authoritarians do that, and send troops in to fight some phantom crime wave that he concocted in the first place. No, he concocted that crime wave in the run-up to the election. He told his followers that there's this massive crime wave. A lot of them illegals committing crime across the country, and we have to prevent it. We have to stop it. He's going to use the military to do it, and of course, ICE. Now, of course, these statistics don't exist. In fact, the statistics contradict everything Donald Trump says, even in D.C. and Chicago. He made them up because, you see, he needed a problem, get a reaction, and that reaction is from his people, the white American people that support him. Now, I know there's other people that supported him, but let's be honest. A far majority of white people supported Donald Trump, especially rich white people, especially right-wing Christian-type people. Remember, the authoritarians put the hammer down, and so that's what they wanted. They want to see someone taking action, even though it's never affected them. I can guarantee you a lot of people in this town voted for Donald Trump. And I can guarantee we haven't seen a real crime wave in this area probably since the 60s. But, perceived or not, many people will fall for that narrative. They want to. They need to. They need a hero. They need a hero, an authoritarian leader that will take power. So that's why when I asked the question, why is Donald Trump sending troops into American cities, it's a show of power and force. D.C. My understanding is crime has gone down in D.C. My understanding is that the federal government allocated money, a lot of money to D.C. to upgrade their police force and other agencies. Donald Trump, in his wisdom, canceled it, stopped it. They didn't get that money. And now it seems a contradiction because now he's sending troops in, we got to pay, to do the things the police should have been doing in the first place. The things the police are trained to do. See, that's why we don't send troops to do police actions, because they're not policemen. It is a different world. I talk to policemen every day. I've talked to people that were in the Guard and people that were in the military. And they have told me, yeah, there is a difference, big difference. They're not trained for law enforcement in American cities. This isn't a third world country, although soon under Donald Trump it will be. So now that we have that settled, we kind of know that this is something Donald Trump concocted. It's classic psychology. Create a problem, get a reaction from people about the problem, and then present them with a solution, which is troops with guns, M16s, and armored personnel carriers. Scare them. That's what we want to do to America, scare the people in our cities. make them feel unsafe. That's what you did, Donald. And you're the only man that can make them safe now by using the military. And by the way, Donald was not in the military, so he has no clue what's going on in the military. I digress there. So I got a few statistics for you. Statistics, maybe they're not statistics. But I want to talk about Chicago. Trump perceived threat there, crime waves, and there is. Parts of Chicago have had pretty high crime rates over the years, a lot of shootings. But again, major cities have issues, and I'm not condoning them. I'm just saying that we know that you put a city together, you put a lot of people in a city, you have some issues. And again, there are places in Chicago, like there are in other cities, that are very poor and basically prone to it because of many social economic issues. We know this. This is not something new. I don't know how to fix all that. Now, Donald Trump, you're playing 100-dimensional chess. Why can't you figure out how to solve the crime problems without sending in the troops? Can't you fix all this with making sure that people have what they need, that there's more police, better trained police in the cities, that there's more programs in the cities that can help people get out of these situations that puts them in harm's way, that may cause them to join a gang? Is there ways that your brilliant mind can work on this? Well, no, because he doesn't have one. He just sees every problem as a nail, and he's going to use a hammer. That doesn't take a lot of brain power, does it? Brain power he doesn't really have. Now, I want to go on record, friends, as saying that 278 people, still 278 too many. I'd love to see zero. But I'm just trying to make a point here, that this isn't a crime wave. And my understanding is that this number is down. And I got a little article that talks about that. The fact is that this could be solved with better police training, more police, more strategy, and not federal troops who have no idea how to do law enforcement in a city. Now, before I go on, I want to let you know that we have a sister channel. It's called Nights Around a Fire. I know you'll love the channel. It's about mysteries, legends, and myths. We cover everything from Bigfoot to UFOs to ghosts to mysteries around the world. There are 3 of us that host it, myself, Sue Taylor, and Ashley Hamilton. You'll love those 2. They do a great job in research. I have a link in the description box. If you enjoy that type of content, please go over and watch and enjoy. Okay, so first of all, when you send troops in, what's really happening? Is that stopping crime? You're arresting people. You're arresting people that probably have already been arrested, most likely. You have limited resources as far as holding them, and they'll be back out, and a lot do, unless you have a pretty good case against them. Sometimes you don't when you're doing just random arrests. So what happens here? Do they just go into hiding? Do they go into other communities? Do they find better ways to commit crimes? Maybe not do drive-bys. Maybe they'll go back to the old type ways and send spies in to kill people. I don't know. But what I'm saying here is this doesn't solve anything. It masks it. But it causes a bigger problem. It shows that we are nothing more than a third world country, that we can't use our skills as Americans that we claim we have to solve problems. We got to use the big hammer against the little nail. We're going to show force like we try all around the world. And it doesn't work there either. When will we learn? There's a guy who wrote an article. His name's Jeff Asher. He has a Substack article, and he said in this, contextualizing Chicago's enormous drop in shootings as of September 2nd, 2025. There have been 1,200 shootings so far. These all aren't people that got killed. These are 1,200 shootings. It's likely that Chicago has seen fewer shooting victims so far this year than any year since the mid-1960s. So that curve would be like this. Crime wave? No. Is there still other crimes? Yes. But most crimes, police are going to handle differently than shooting crimes, right? You have theft, you have assaults, muggings. That's going to happen. Even if you have National Guard troops and they're not in that particular area, or they've moved on, you can still have muggings. You can still have all this type of crime. My point is that you didn't solve any problems. You just changed the way it's structured. Okay? Now, we know that Donald Trump sent troops into L.A. Remember the riots? Well, we know they weren't riots. We know they were protests. He doesn't like protests. He doesn't like anybody that speaks out against him. And he sent National Guard troops. In spite of Governor Gavin Newsom's basically protest over it. It's usually the governor. If he needs National Guard troops sent in, he will send them in. He did not need them. The police themselves said it was under control. They didn't need any help. We don't want your help. And then Trump sent Marines. Again, not a good idea. Again, this is a man who wants to be authoritarian, wants to show strength and leadership. So again, the nail and the hammer. Well, a federal judge ruled Tuesday that National Guard troops ran afoul of the law in Los Angeles when President Trump deployed them in June after immigration processes turned violent. U.S. District Court Judge Charles Breyer ruled their actions violated an 1878 law that generally bars federal troops from participating in civilian law enforcement. That 1878 law is called posse comitatus. The ruling comes after Trump publicly discusses putting troops in Chicago. Now, keep in mind that Gavin Newsom, the governor of California, filed a lawsuit against Trump. It took this long to finalize the ruling. Now, for those of you that don't like judges, you got to be careful with any judge you have. You know, if you look at the right-wing people that are now on the Supreme Court, Justice John Roberts, for instance, these people are dangerous. They can affect your whole world. They can affect how you live forever. They're dangerous. No, district court judges, they have to make rulings. And this guy was right. Whether you like it or not, they put the law in, posse comitatus, because they did not want troops doing police action in America, on American streets, against American people. So in Chicago, Governor J.D. Pritzker, now he's going to follow suit. He's going to sue the Trump administration as well. And most likely, the judge will say that it is unconstitutional. Donald Trump does not care. Does not care. Now, Donald Trump is really being vindictive. He's just targeting Democratic cities. Remember the plan here. If you watch the video I did yesterday about voting laws, Trump and his administration and his right-wing fascists are attacking voting laws. They want to eliminate or roll back the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Why? Because you see, they're trying to take control so that only the people they want to vote can vote. White people that follow Donald Trump. They're the only ones they really want to vote. No one else vote should count. So when you look at this, it's a big package. He's now going after Democratic cities and trying to break them apart. They're also trying to go through each state and redistrict to make sure that Democrats have no shot at being elected in certain areas. They're doing that right now, and of course we know they're doing it in Texas. This is just another step, sending the National Guard in, military into blue cities, as a show of force against people. And I think I mentioned in the video yesterday that people, when they see this type of force, for instance, won't go to vote. They'll be afraid to go to vote. There's a lot of people who will fear an action against them, especially if they're not voting Republican. If you know you're going to vote Democrat, you're going to feel a little worried. And that's the statistics and that's the studies they've shown. So why doesn't Donald Trump send troops into other cities that have high murder rates, right? How about red state cities? Well, that's not going to happen. How about the Mississippi's Governor Tate Reeves? Yeah, he bragged about sending Mississippi National Guardsmen to D.C. Proud of it. Going to stop crime. Well, guess what, Tate? My man? Jackson, Mississippi has one of the highest crime rates in the country. In fact, Mississippi as a state had one of the highest homicide rates in 2022. Recent data from Axios shows Jackson's rate at about 78 per 100,000 people in 2025. So 78 people were murdered there out of 100,000 people on average in 2025. That's not even done yet, which is 15 times, and I did not stutter, 15 times the national average. You see, this isn't about solving problems or crime. This isn't about thinking more, using the knowledge we have, using the resources this great country has. No, it's about power. It's about power and always will be. Control and power. And there's no way that this is going to solve any problems. Please, if you enjoy the content, like, subscribe, and share my videos with as many people as you can. Support us in every way you can. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to love your neighbor as yourself. And I'll see you next time right here on the David Tomsic Show. Take care.